Imagine waking up in the middle of the night. The room is completely dark, silent, and heavy. But then you see it. A grin, glowing, floating in the blackness. Wide, too wide. And there is no face behind it. This story begins with Daniel, a college student living alone in a small off-campus apartment. The building was old, with thin walls and creaky floors, but Daniel liked the cheap rent. The first night seemed normal until the power cut out around midnight. He lit a candle, crawled into bed, and tried to sleep. Sometime after, he woke up with a jolt. The apartment was silent, yet the air felt different, heavier. He blinked into the dark and froze. At the far corner of the room, something faint glowed. A mouth, not a face, not even eyes. Just a grin, stretching unnaturally wide, hanging in the air like a carved wound in the dark. Daniel sat upright, heart pounding. He told himself it was a trick of his tired eyes. He blinked, rubbed them, and when he looked again, the smile was gone. He forced himself back to sleep, convincing himself it was just the candlelight playing tricks. The next night, he left the lamp on. He didn't want to see that darkness again, but around 3 a.m., the bulb flickered, buzzed, and went dead. The apartment plunged into blackness. Daniel's breath caught, and then it returned. That grin, the same glowing crescent, hanging in the corner, brighter this time, as if it had been waiting. He grabbed his phone, flicked on the flashlight, and shone it at the corner. Nothing, empty wall, but when he turned the light off, the grin appeared. Again, closer. He tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was hallucinating. Maybe stress from exams was breaking him. But as the days went on, the grin kept returning. Always in the dark. Always closer. Daniel started hearing things. Low chuckles echoing through the halls. His neighbors complained about a strange odor, like rotting fruit, seeping through the building. At night, he heard faint tapping on his door. Once, half asleep, he swore he heard a whisper, "Smile with me." He grew paranoid, refusing to turn off the lights. But light bulbs burned out faster than ever. Fuses popped, and his electricity bill skyrocketed. Still, the grin always returned, glowing brighter in the blackness. He told his friend Sarah about it. She laughed, brushed it off as stress, and offered to stay the night. That evening, they talked, watched movies, and eventually fell asleep with the lights on. At 3:07 a.m., the power went out. Sarah woke first. She screamed. Daniel shot up to see what she saw. The grin was in the center of the room, floating, stretching ear to ear, wider than any human mouth should ever be. Sarah bolted for the door, but it wouldn't open. She yanked at the handle, pounding, screaming. Daniel turned back and saw the grin drifting toward him, slowly, like it was gliding across the air. His phone lit up suddenly, with a new message. He didn't recognize the number. It read, "Don't run. Smile." The air turned freezing cold. Sarah's screams cut off. Daniel turned and saw her standing still in the corner, her face hidden in the shadows. When she stepped into the dim glow of his phone screen, his stomach dropped. She was smiling, but it wasn't her smile. It stretched too far, curling unnaturally, glowing faintly in the dark. The grin behind her had vanished. Daniel backed away, whispering her name, begging her to stop. But Sarah only whispered back, "It's better if you join us." Her glowing grin widened as she lunged forward. The next morning, neighbors complained of power surges and strange laughter echoing through the halls. The landlord entered Daniel's apartment after no one answered the door. The bed was empty. The phones were gone. But on the walls, smeared in something black, were words written over and over again. "Smile with me, and if you stand in Daniel's old apartment today, lights off, silence heavy, they say you'll see it." A grin, floating in the dark, waiting.